Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. It's John W. Robbins. He's the president of Awards and Fine Gifts, Inc. John, welcome. You have been a longtime friend of NCTV 17. We welcome you. So tell me a little bit about your business. I don't think everybody knows what you do.
Well, it's all started just a little over 30 years ago. And what we do is we call on organizations, corporations, and associations and nonprofits who are looking to recognize their employees for a variety of their reasons, or their customers. And the reason could be somebody that's been with the company for 5, 10, or 15 years, or it could be retiring. Or it could be an outstanding salesman who's just was outstanding and got #1 in his category and got a beautiful award. So it could be sales, years of service, a customer that's been with you for 25 years, or it could be a promotional item that you want to give out to customers to let them know who you are. So it's a combination of things.
It is. Well, and I think it's really important to recognize employees and to give them something. You also, you were talking about give out to the community so they recognize you, and I'm thinking about my lovely lapel pin here because it says NCTV 17, and that's how you and I met, because about 5 years, probably 7 years now, we went to celebrate our 25th anniversary here at NCTV, and we were looking for a pin. I had seen other companies do a lapel pin, and I thought they were neat. And I wanted it to be local because we went online and looked, and I'm like, I need to see and feel and know the person I'm working with. And so we went and we talked to you, and you're like, I can do that. And you actually, you gave us a lot of tips on size and pin types and things like that. So you were so helpful. So I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I imagine that that's part of the service that your company gives is that service aspect of what you need to do to help your employees be recognized.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit how you got started in this business.
Oh my gosh, it happened so many years ago. I went to work for Tiffany's here in Chicago, and they asked me if I wanted to do some outside sales, and I said, what do I do? And the gentleman said, I said, who do I call on? He said, well, corporations. And he says, wear out your heels. I said, no training. So I went to the library, got a few books on how to sell, and my good friend who worked at Xerox said, hey, I'll get you into the Xerox professional selling class, which was a 4-day class, which was outstanding. And all of a sudden, I'm off and running. So when he said, wear out your heels, that's what I did. And what the great surprise was, I fell in love with it. And I've become passionate about it, and here I am 30 years later, and I still enjoy it and love it.
So when did you decide to start your own business?
Well, after about 4 years of doing this at Tiffany's, I said, good gosh, I could do this on my own. But I was married at the time, and everybody is very hesitant about going into business. And so 14 years passed, and I finally decided to just do it. And what was pretty interesting about it is the banks wouldn't give me a loan, but then I went to see a good customer of mine who happened to be the president of one of the divisions of IBM, and he was considerably older, and he obviously liked me. I was right there in his office. He picked up the phone, called his bank, and 60 days later, I had a loan to start my business.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And what's really nice about it, too, is the bank, for whatever reason, called the loan 6 months later, and I talked to my accountant, Frank Nilo, who worked at Giovanni, Jordan, and Johnson, and Frank said, you got to go see Lou Petritz over at the bank here in town. I said, okay. So I went to see Lou, and he said yes. So what's so nice, everything came back local, so to speak. And here I am being financed by a local bank, and both of them became good friends. So that's how I got started.
And what was your first client? You brought a lot of neat stuff for us to see here.
This little candy dish, I got an order from the Conrad Hilton Hotel in downtown Chicago that had just refurbished the whole hotel, and they wanted to have a grand opening, and they wanted to have a candy dish in a beautiful silver box with satin ribbon. And I said, sure, I can do that. I can wrap 600 bowls And here I am working out of my home in the basement, and I'm convinced my two daughters, who were teenagers at the time, who always want to have extra money, will come down and help me delightfully. Well, after they helped me for about 20 of them, they said, "Dad, we've got to go." So over the next 2 weeks, I ended up packaging them all myself. If you ever need somebody to help you with bows, don't tell too many people, but I can do a bow faster than...
Could learn on the job.
Yeah, so they bought 600 of them, and they loved them, and that was my first transaction.
That's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about your business philosophy. I mean, you've been successful for 30 years, so my guess is that you've got a pretty good one.
Well, there are two pillars to that philosophy, and one is service, giving outstanding service. We've never missed a delivery. We stress quality, service, and good design. And the second pillar is giving back to your community. And over the course of the years, I've been served on several boards, and currently I'm been a member of over 20 years for the Rotary Club here in Naperville. And so whether you're donating product or giving money or volunteering your time, I think that is absolutely crucial, and that's part of me. Service always came automatic, but I got involved quite early in various charities, and there's nothing like giving back to your community.
Yes, well, and that, I think how a lot of people have met you is through one of your service organizations or the Rotary or something, and that's great. Tell me a little bit about one of your favorite awards.
Well, one of the first, in addition to the Conrad Hilton, one of the first orders came from the Arlington Park Thoroughbred Racetrack up here in Arlington Heights. And I got to meet Dick Duchessois, who is the owner and is still the owner. And he wanted to have a beautiful trophy for his first $1 million stake race. And we created that for him. And what's so interesting about, so that was a great initial start. But the added part of that is Dick Duchessois is probably 94, and he still goes to work every day.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So that was one of my favorites. And then two of my specials, one of my specials is right here in Naperville. The city asked me to come up with a top cop award for the late George Prado, and this was several years ago. And I knew about Dick Loker, who was the cartoonist for the Dick Tracy cartoons for the Chicago Tribune for over 30 years. And so I went to Dick, what a great guy, and he helped me design George's beautiful crystal piece that was presented to him with a Dick Tracy image of Dick Tracy on the piece of crystal. But and so that was presented to George, and he loves that award. He loved that award. And the other part of it is Dick Loker helped me create a Dick Tracy watch, which I have here, along with a Dick Tracy coffee mug, which he signed. And so that's special because Dick's local. I believe in the philosophy of not only giving back, but being part of the local community and working with people locally.
Well, I think that's one of your strengths is that you're able to not only get somebody, some pens or something like that, but if they want to do something really special and unique, you always have a good idea of how to do it and to make something, really stand out. And that's what I think really makes awards and fine gifts, stand above your competition.
Yes, and one of the other pieces, when the Indigo Hotel opened, they needed a commemorative gift for their grand opening, and we created a beautiful plate with a hand-painted image of the hotel, which they absolutely loved. So that was given out in the grand opening.
That's wonderful.
To their investors, yeah.
Well, it's important, as you said, to commemorate and celebrate and give something. I think we always treasure that, whether we, give it or receive it. So thank you, John, for stopping by, telling us all about what you do, and we wish you continued success.
Well, thank you so much.
We'll be right back with more Business Connection.